Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to my presentation on WebBits and WebQuests. If you'd like to see this Google slide presentation at another time, please refer to the link below to access the file. There's also a QR code in the bottom right-hand corner that will take you to the slide presentation as well. When it comes to using technology in the classroom, one of the biggest topics that teachers discuss is how to effectively use the internet in our classrooms. There's an infinite amount of information available on the internet. According to dailymail.com, every minute there are 571 new websites added across the globe. As public school budgets become smaller and smaller, many schools encourage the use of open sources of information such as the internet rather than purchasing new textbooks or library books. However, turning students loose on the internet can often be a scary thought. It's so easy for students to get distracted or off task, and what happens if they end up on a site that's inappropriate? This becomes even more important when we're talking about younger students who have not yet developed their research skills and often accidentally end up on inappropriate sites. WebQuests and WebBits are the solution to this problem. As you'll see in this presentation, WebBits and WebQuests provide a way to guide students through a series of websites that you have already reviewed for accuracy, timeliness, and appropriateness. Further, the structure of WebBits and WebQuests will help keep students on track while working through the websites. When using the internet, we want to avoid having students search for just facts. We want to get away from traditional worksheet style activities. Instead, we want to encourage students to use higher order thinking skills. This image was created by Christine Reese and is available through image sharing from Creative Commons. This image does an excellent job of illustrating Bloom's taxonomy. Initially, we do want to expose students to the knowledge that they will need, but we want to use WebBits and WebQuests to help them really comprehend and apply the information they have learned in order to analyze and evaluate other sources in order to solve problems or come up with their own conclusions. So the aim of WebBits and WebQuests is to use the open source information found on the internet to explore and expand their horizons with any given topic. Let's start by discussing WebBits. WebBits are small online activities that you create that will guide students through a series of websites in order to explore a certain topic or objective. The questions can start at the knowledge level, but by the end of the WebBit, the goal is to have students using higher order thinking skills. WebBits are usually 5 to 10 questions long, so they're exploring just a little bit of the web, thus the name WebBits. So let's look at some examples. This website includes information on the goals of a WebBit and provides a very helpful handout, which you can see right here, the WebBits worksheet, that can help you to begin the creation of your WebBit. Further, they host over 35 WebBits that you can use for inspiration for creating your own. We are going to take a look at this example right here, the Vikings. You can see that the WebBit itself is only one page, so it's a very simple design and structure. You can also see right here that the creator only has 7 tasks or questions. Further, we see that most of the questions ask students to create different things, from Venn diagrams to writing their own proverbs and stories, and then she asks them to explain the choices that they made. The WebBit does a fantastic job of asking students to apply, synthesize, and evaluate all higher order thinking skills. So students are able to go to the websites, and we can see the links for those websites here in blue, and explore the topic there on those websites. Then they come back to the WebBit to expand upon what they have learned. The second example that I would like to show you are endangered animals. All right, this one is designed for younger students. Notice there are only 5 questions to this WebBit, so it's a little shorter. Initially, the task for each looks very simple, but once you look at what the students are then asked to do, each question asks them to create something using what they have learned. Students are comparing and contrasting and making their own decisions about how to save endangered animals. They're also often asked to explain why they made certain decisions. If you have time later, you should come back to this website and explore some of the other WebBits. The link for this website is included in the additional resources at the bottom of this page. WebQuests are very similar to WebBits in that they allow students to use websites to explore a topic, but they're generally lengthier and delve much deeper into the topic. In some cases, the WebQuest might ask the students to synthesize something much more complex, or in other cases, there are simply more steps to complete a certain task. Generally, the task is much grander in scale than the web bits and definitely asks students to use higher order thinking skills and 21st century skills. Many of them challenge students to solve a particular problem, usually in a real-world application and setting. It would be a disservice to talk about WebQuests and not talk about the creator of WebQuests, Bernie Dodge. Along with the help of Tom Ward, Bernie coined the term WebQuest and the basic structure of WebQuest in 1995 while working at San Diego University. His website, webquest.org, is a one-stop shop for those considering using WebQuest in their classrooms. On his site, he outlines what a WebQuest is and how to create one. He also has many shared WebQuests here that you can look at for inspiration or use in your classroom. His site and Tom Ward's are listed in my additional resources if you would like to check out their advice on WebQuests. WebQuests do follow a basic structure as mentioned on the previous slide. The quest begins with an introduction. In the introduction, the creator often explains why we are going on this quest. Why is it important? This portion of the quest usually also contains the objectives. What will the students master once this quest is over? And it also usually contains links to standards. Next, the creator will explain the task. What is the overall task that the students are trying to accomplish? This page is often the big picture page of the quest. It is often where you will see the creator pose the overall question or task. What will the students be doing? What problem will they be solving? Then we move on to the process. This is the page where the creator will outline the steps to accomplish the task. Here is where you will find links to the websites that the students will need to go to. This is the how part of the quest, where students will see how they will answer the overall question or accomplish the quest. There is a resources page where the creator may include some additional resources that might be helpful, in addition to citing where all of the information and any videos, graphics, and images came from. Finally, the students will come to the conclusion page of the web quest. Here, the creator of the site brings home the overall objective. What were they supposed to get out of this quest, and how can they use this knowledge in further endeavors? It is often a place where students will reflect on the task, the process, and the final solution or product that came out of the quest. Here's an example of a web quest that I recently created using Google Sites. This is a web quest about evaluating websites. You can see from the menu over here on the left side of the screen that the quest follows the basic structure as outlined by Bernie Dodge. On the introduction page, I discuss why it's important to know how to evaluate websites, and I outline their learning objectives, as you will see here in the middle of the page, and the Common Core standards that this activity links to. On the next page, I explain the task. You can see that I made the task similar to an assignment that they would receive in one of their classes so that they would be able to relate to Ben. So you can see here that Ben is given an assignment to find websites with information on Martin Luther King Jr., and the students are then supposed to help Ben evaluate those sites. On page 3, students are taken through the process with step-by-step instructions, as you see here, and the links provided. So these are the 3 websites that the students will need to go to and evaluate. This way I'm taking them to specific sites and not just asking them to openly search the web. I've already evaluated these sites, so I know exactly what they will find there. In the process, students will do their own evaluation of each site using this handout here. Then they discuss amongst their group and come up with a group decision about each site. Each group must be able to defend their decision with specific examples. Then we will discuss it as a class and decide as a class about the worthiness of each site. So students are applying what they know about the criteria of a trustworthy quality website and analyzing and evaluating each site based on that criteria to come up with their own conclusion that must be defended. The resources page provides citation information for all the sites and images used in the web quest, in addition to extra sites for them to look at if they need more information. Finally, on the conclusion page, we review what we did and why we did it, in addition to how they can use this information and their evaluation skills in the future. In order to create a WebBit or WebQuest, you will need to select a platform that you will use to create the site. As teachers, we're always on a limited budget, so I've listed several platforms here that are free. I've listed them in order of my preference. My school is a Google Apps for Education school, so I really like using Google Sites. It's very user-friendly. but Wix, Weebly, and Web.com are also equally user-friendly. I found the free version of WebQuests to be more difficult to use, but the paid version is rather user-friendly. I hope that this presentation has inspired you to take your students on a quest. Quests are easy to create, and there are thousands of wonderful quests already created on the web that you can use. If you'd like to use this Google Slide presentation in the future, the link is below. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this presentation, and I hope it inspired you with some ideas that you can use in your classroom.